my favorite archetype of Star Wars. So it's really giving you the keys to be part of the underworld, part of the galaxy of Star Wars on your terms.
I love the sound of it, because you're right, this is a brand new experience for a lot of players. We've had tales about Force Wielders before, but the Scoundrel is so important to Star Wars in general, and now to finally play as one is incredible. And we've seen a bit of Toshara, we've seen a bit of Tatooine. You've picked some great locations for the game, but now we're going to get a little look at the planet Akiva, right?
Yes, absolutely. So this is the first time we really dive into Akiva. And Akiva was only ever featured in a series of books called Aftermath. So we're the first to take those words and to transform them into something lush, beautiful, complex.
Yeah.
And complex not just in scenery, but also in the politics, the dynamics that are happening. You'll be able to see while Kay runs around the streets of Mira, the main city.
It's very beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But it's also corrupt. And you'll see that there's stormtroopers, there's an Empire presence, and the Pikes and the Hutts are also fighting it out. So Empires and Syndicate presence within the city, within the planet as a whole.
Well, we'll get onto the Syndicates in just a sec, but as I've heard from you before, speaking about the game, one thing your team's really proud of in particular with Star Wars Outlaws is those hubs of where Kay can get her intel, and that all starts with cantinas. Now, the cantinas that we have on Akiva, very different to the ones we have on Tatooine. Tell me a bit about how you go in designing these to make sure they feel like Star Wars cantinas, but also reflective of the planet or moon that they're on.
Absolutely. So the cantina is this flashpoint of everything that makes Star Wars special. And the approach, the design philosophy that we worked with Lucasfilm Games really allowed us to understand the simplicity, relatability, and yet difference that all of these locations can take. So, for example, in the real world, you have jazz bars, you have Korean barbecues, you have all of these different types of location. So each one of these had to have a different type of vibe. Here in Akiva, it's a tropical tiki bar. So that's the vibe that we were going for there.
Sounds great, and it's obviously a great place to meet up with these crime syndicates and get some jobs. How do they make an impact on the game?
So, of course, this is a game about the underworld of Star Wars. And there are 4 main syndicates. There's maybe more, but there are 4 main syndicates that you'll be dealing with. The Pikes, the Hutts, the Ashiga clan that we created with Lucasfilm Games, and the Crimson Dawn. And you, as an outlaw, are going to be able to work on your reputation with each one of those. Doing jobs for some, betraying others, and building your profile accordingly. So very, very involved in your personal story throughout this adventure.
That's incredible. So they will form a general structure that Kay can live out this story in, but how much agency do players have to maybe go off the beaten path, maybe take Kay down some slightly darker routes, or playing the good guy a bit?
100% up to you. So for example, here, this is the first time we ever show this quest. And it's a quest where you've landed in Akiva, your main focus is to go pick up a droid smith. A droid smith that you need to pull off this heist that we've been talking about. 157 million credits, that's a lot of credits.
Not bad, yeah.
And to do that, you're going to have to upgrade your equipment, which we're doing there. We're making sure that your loadout is the right one. You jump on your speeder, and you'll be able to be distracted by curiosity on the way. So you're speeding off, you're on the way. It's quite a journey, and on that journey, you're going to be able to do jumps, tricks.
Nice.
The bike is based on a motocross, so it feels visceral as well.
Right.
And you'll be able to come across different things. Like here we have an Imperial shuttle landing. Do you go and mingle with those people? Do you mess around with the Empire at this point? Or do you save it for a little bit later on? Because guess what? That droidsmith, he's going to be located in an Imperial compound.
Oh, just our luck. Just our luck. Well, how well equipped can the player be to tackle... That's not a compound, that's a fortress. I mean, what does Kay bring to the table to be able to deal with these kind of scenarios?
Well, she's got to have the equipment to be able to do that. And that starts off with things like your binoculars to be able to scope the different opportunities. There's not just one way in, there are several ways in. the surest way to meet a very certain end is to go in guns blazing, because this is the Empire we're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's a massive force in front of you. We're going to go stealth.
Okay.
And binoculars, one thing, blaster, another, Nyx, incredibly important. Let's just have a taste of how Kay uses Nyx.
Okay.
She's going to be sending me across and attacking, clawing the hell out of that stormtrooper.
I feel bad for the guy.
You shouldn't. He's there. He's built for this.
Okay, true.
You take out the second stormtrooper, and now you have to hack through that laser barrier to be able to get into the gooey good stuff in the middle of that fortress.
So there's quite a few different ways of engaging in a mission like this.
Absolutely.
What would happen if we did go in all blasters blazing? Would it be a big problem for us on this particular mission?
This is an Empire compound, so that's going to be a real problem.
Okay. I'll take your advice on
One of the conditions is that you don't set off the alarm, because if the alarm sets off, you're going to shut down that compound.
Fair enough.
You may revisit the compound later on to be able to steal more stuff and to really find all of the treasures. And there, you can do it the way you want. But ATSTs, guarding the door, you've got a blaster in Nyx. Do you really want to put yourself in that sort of situation?
I could take my chances, honestly. Earlier on, though, we did see with Kay's using her blaster now, but before that, she was working on it a bit on her workbench.
Yes.
Inside the Trailblazer. What is that all about? Is that like upgrading? Or?
Yeah, that's absolutely upgrading your weapon.
Okay.
Because we want this to be about a resourceful underdog. And a resourceful underdog, they have one main tool that you can upgrade. You can have a charge blast, which is like a rocket launcher.
What?
And, plasma, which is the regular blaster,
right,
with speed mode to it, so it feels like an automatic weapon. And you have one function, which is the shock function, which we'll see a little bit later on.
Nice. I love the way that she even moves around. Like you mentioned before, Scoundrel Archetype's one of your favorites, but the movements of Kay, the mannerisms, the swagger really communicates that so well.
It's something that we worked on Division 2.
Right.
Those are trained military agents, civilian agents, but with military training. Here we wanted a resourceful underdog. So you have to have that different movement. But all of those mannerisms and that sort of swagger that you see there, that's Umberly, who brought that to the character, and she'll be able to tell you all about it.
Okay, great. I'll make sure to. One thing that I want to point out as well, we did just talk about the blaster a little bit. We're getting to see some of the action over there. Nice shot, by the way. The sound of it, too. I mean, in Star Wars, there are so many sounds that are iconic. Players, when we listen to them, it makes the hair on our arms stand up.
If you close your eyes and think TIE Fighter.
Yeah, TIE Fighter. I'm thinking like the seismic charge.
Yep.
Oh, man, yeah. But Kay's blaster also has a really satisfying punch to it. So tell me about the process for making sure that you're designing a weapon sound-wise, the feel of it, the look of it, making sure it's authentically Star Wars, but also brand new, something that you've created.
We have to get inspiration from the past, get inspiration from the original trilogy, because this adventure happens in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So we had access to all of those things. And then the pleasure is looking at that, working with that, and coming up with something that sounds new and that become its own sound. And that extends from the sound design to, the music of the piece, which I think is remarkable. We heard it gorgeous in the trailer. It's fantastic.
Anytime I hear the horns, honestly, I'm goosebumps. It's crazy. So we finally find our droid smith here then, I guess.
Yeah, who's not particularly happy to see you. So I'm not going to spoil the story, but the droid smith, Gadik, has a past with you.
Okay.
And he's ended up working with the Empire, so he's made some really bad decisions.
Oh dear, yeah. It's not great. I mean, he's already got a protocol droid firing a gun at us. I never thought I'd see that. But
I got a problem with a gatekeeper droid.
now that's caught his interest.
That's caught his interest.
Interesting.
There's a real challenge. There's a real opportunity. It's not motivated by the credits, but tinkering around with some new tech.
I like
That's what catches his eye.
I could get on with this guy. But the problem is, once we extract Gadik, we have to get out as well, right?
And that's where the blaster comes into its full use.
Nice.
So this is going to be part of one of those main quests. It's a linear quest. And there's a whole path where you explode into the combats, and you use all of the tools at your disposal.
Right.
Before we edited a little segment which was a puzzle room.
Right,
we didn't want to spoil the puzzle. We didn't want to spoil the traversal. We wanted to focus on the real action of this piece.
Great. And now we're getting some serious combat because there was no chance to sneak there. Everybody's just ripped over and saw us immediately.
Let's just escape.
But this is where Kay sort of comes into her own, because scoundrels, they love to improvise. They're good under pressure, and so I guess you're encouraging players to make sure they look around them, identify bits that are useful, send nicks out, play around with it a bit.
All of those tools, you've got an adrenaline shot. If you recognize that, it allows you to slow time, pick your targets, and it's an automatic kill.
Nice. That's a bit more of a problem, though.
This guy's got a shield, and one of your modules will be able to disable that shield, opening them up for the deadly shot.
Absolutely stunning.
And that's it. You grapple hook out and escape the base.
You make it seem so easy. I'm gonna try it, and it's not gonna be that.
I wish I was playing this one. There's a whole team, and they've done an amazing